Hey y'all, Dr. Heather Robinson here with Educators Rise Enterprises. I'm on my way to our church service today. It is Friday. It is Holy Week. It is Good Friday. I'm about to go hear the last 7 words. But before I go, I wanted to hop on here real quick because I wanted to share something with y'all. So I was sitting and I was having a conversation with someone just randomly, right? It was a parent at the job, actually. And I was just expressing to this particular parent about how, I went to school for different things, and it took me a little while to kind of find what I wanted to do. When I went to college, I got my degree in liberal arts with a concentration in Pan-African studies, and I kind of was just trying to be a social worker, and I could not get that position because you had to have 6 months of experience. And I was like, okay, how am I going to get experience if you don't hire me? But anyway, so I fell into this field of education, and I was expressing, my experience, how I was a toddler teacher first, and then it kind of progressed from there. I've done private K, I've done elementary at a charter school, I've done childcare, pre-K, preschool with Head Start, and so on and so forth. And he said, you have vast experience. That's amazing. And I said, yes. So I started talking to him about how I started my company. And I realized I didn't share that with you guys. So let me share that with you. So back in 2010, the Lord gave me Anointed to Write. I ran from it. I was like, that's whack. Don't nobody put a number in their business name. But I want y'all to parking lot that. Keep in mind, I said, don't nobody put a number in their business name. But also, I'm from Philly, and I just felt like that was whack because I never saw that. But this is what happens when you kind of judge an idea before you know what's fully happening. So time went on, and I kept seeing Anointed to Write everywhere, but it was the number 2, not T-O, the number 2. And I was like, this is crazy. Like, you got to be talking about somebody else and get me mixed up. Now, I went to Temple University, and there was my maiden name is Brown, so there was another Heather A. Brown there, and the only differentiation was the last number in our social security number. Can y'all believe that? So I'm going on and on in life, and then in 2012 I started writing my first book. 2012. Now 2010 he showed me Anointed to Write. 2012 I was like, I'm gonna write a book. So I walk through a divorce, and I relocate, and I lose my manuscript, right? So in 2015, I picked the pen back up, and I went back to writing my book. 2016, my previous first lady, I reached out to her because she had published a book. Long story short, she told me about a publisher. He was amazing. He was a reverend. He cared about you getting your vision out. He had just started his publishing company, and I was one of his first clients. 2017, as an ode to my mom, June 19th, my first book came out, A Season of Pressing. I didn't really know what I was doing. I just now wanted to get my story out there. So, peradventure, 2019, my publisher passes away. When you guys go into a contract with publishers, read the fine print. I had a very fair contract, but there are some people that are locked into their contracts and cannot get out. Now, I share that to say, when he passed away, his contracts were 3 years. You sign up for 3 years. If you wanted to continue, it automatically rolled over. If you didn't want to continue, you had to tell them in 30 days you wanted to cancel. Well, he passed away. His children took it over. They gave us the option to stick it out with them or to cancel. So I canceled my contract, and I had to figure out what I was going to do. So I went back and I said, Lord, what am I going to do? I already put this out. I have to do another print because I have the rights to my book back, and the publisher passed away. And he reminded me, Anointed to Write. So I talked to my best friend in 2020 and my husband, and I was like, I gotta figure this out. In 2021, on my birthday, January 26th, my best friend created my very first website for me, and we launched Anointed to Write. Now, in 2024, I had a conversation with a friend. We were talking about education, and she said, when are you going to stop running from what God wants you to do in this season of your life? You're in education, you're seasoned, you have a lot of good ideas, you know it works, and this and that. And I said, all right. So she went and she paid for a book cover for me and a promo flyer. Now that's friendship, and that's somebody that believes in the vision. All right, so let's keep going. I said, I'm gonna go into a couple groups, and I'm just gonna say I have an anthology for educators. If you're interested, let me know. And I got a nice amount of hits. And if we fast forward to last year, April of last year, Volume 1 launched. And we had an in-person conference in June. That was my very first anthology that I was the visionary of, and the very first in-person conference that I was the curator of. Now, I had never done this before. I was on other people's platforms. Watch how they did it. Moving right along, everybody asked me about Volume 2. Well, Volume 2 just launched this year. We launched in February. And so I am now working on Volume 3. So far, I have 5 authors locked in. I'm looking for about 5 more. And we're going to have another conference in person July 18th. And that will be our launch. I share all of that to say it does not happen overnight. You have to step out on faith, but you also have to be very cautious that you don't jump out blindly, because you could cause yourself a lot of heartache, pain, disappointment, and debts. So I just wanted to share that story with y'all. For those that are interested, my anthology, Volume 1, 2, and soon to be 3, the title is Educators Rise, Voices of Change. We are bridging the gaps. And when I defended my dissertation for my PhD, my title was Bridging the Gaps that so easily separates us. So I say all that to say, this will be the final anthology for the Educators Rise, Voices of Change edition. And we are having our in-person conference on July 18th. We are allowing people to nominate for awards. All of that information will be coming soon. If you like more information on how to be a part of the movement, be a co-author, be a speaker, nominate for an award, or just come out and support, let me know below. I am in the Pennsylvania area, so if you are in Pennsylvania, Maryland, DC, Delaware, Baltimore, New York, New Jersey, any of those areas that are surrounding Pennsylvania, or you're not in an area that's surrounding Pennsylvania, you want something that is productive to do and you want to be a part of this phenomenal movement, drop it in the comments below. Y'all have a safe and fantastic Friday. If you're going to a Good Friday service, enjoy. Have a happy Easter, and I'll see you soon. Bye.